Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Monday's View from the Mountain. My name is Stone Mountain 64, and back in high school, I wasn't really the most popular guy. I had some friends, some acquaintances, people I could hang out with, a lot of people to game with. As you can imagine, though, I was more of a gamer. Look at me, uploading videos about gaming 6 years later. Who would have guessed I was a gamer? Anyways, I also happen to be very good at school. High school, I did about a 3.7 GPA, which is pretty good. But when you have friends that are pulling 4s and 4.5 and whatever else you can get up to with APs, it's not exactly the best. That being said, only taking one AP in high school, I did do pretty good. And on top of that, I crushed college. Graduated with a 3.93 summa cum laude, which is Latin for highest honors. I definitely dominated it. So I had mentioned this a few months back, maybe doing some videos giving you guys some tips about school and things that might be able to help you out now that the school semester and season is back up. Something I'd be very interested in. Let me know what grade you guys are in or age and where you guys are from. That'd be really interesting to me to see in the comments and to see if this even has any relevance. This is something, I don't think I have everything figured out. I've been out of college for a few months now. I definitely don't have things figured out, everything, but hey, I've had a pretty damn good track record with high school, with college, with an internship, and now a job. I've rounded out my portfolio pretty well for where I'm at right now in life. So, hey, maybe I can help some of you guys out as well. The first thing is actually a bit more macro level. This can apply easily to any facet of life, but I'll relate it back to school as well, and that's have good friends, right? You want to have a peer group that's pushing you in the right direction in school, not, oh man, you studied for 5 hours last night. We beat the boss on Destiny. What are you studying for? It's not exactly who you want to be associating with if your goal is to make it and, graduate with good grades and whatever you want to do. Find a good job out of college, try and build your career up. Definitely not going to probably be your best bet in terms of pushing you in the right direction. Now, I did have people in my life that were like that, but I didn't take that to heart, and I had a lot of people, including my roommate who I had met in college and meshed with super well because we were on such the same wavelength of looking for success and for pushing ourselves to the max. He definitely helped push me, and I think I helped push him as well in terms of getting ourselves up there, and he ended up becoming my roommate for a few years. It was a perfect situation. On top of that, I also had my girlfriend, now fiance, who was a very hard worker herself, big studier, and helped me kind of keep my mentality when I was going through everything. And college became a lot easier because instead of, friends really being impressed by KD, they're really impressed by GPA. And so that same sort of feeling you get from working on your KD, you can get from working on your school as well, if that's something that your peers favor. And, that's a really big tip in terms of motivating yourself and keeping yourself going. And that's a big thing that everybody looks at, not just your small niche of friends who even knows what a KD is. It's something that's applicable all across life and will help you 5-6 years down the road. So associating with people like that definitely helped me. And the thing about friendship, it's a two-way street, man. You don't have to be friends with somebody. You can be an acquaintance. You can get along with them, be nice to them and everything, but you don't have to be best friends with everybody, and you get to choose your friends. You don't have to call somebody back. So choosing that really does help you out in the long term, I do think. Got no ill will towards anybody who doesn't feel the same way as me. I met somebody just last week who's a mutual friend of ours, through mutual friend. This guy just enjoys living, doing the part-time job and having a ton of free time, living super cheap and just having a ton of free time doing nothing. That's his thing. More power to you if that's what you're into, man. But this is kind of the stepping stone that I think gives you a good foundation, and that's a good foundation in life, really. You might not have the best of friends in high school. You might not have them in college. I mean, I don't really talk to too many of my high school friends right now, and I sure don't talk to too many college friends either. Now it's more about work. Life changes and life develops. You'll definitely find that along your way. But that's probably my biggest thing. The next thing, I guess, a lot more school related, is what do we got coming up here? Probably, I'm assuming. First tests, right? The semester just started a few weeks ago. Maybe even your second test. I don't know how far things are along. I don't think about that stuff anymore, son. But dominate your first test. Every test I went into for the final, I didn't even have to show up, and I could still pass the class with a C. That gave me so much confidence going into it. But when I was taking tests in the past, you know, I did have some test anxiety, but I eventually learned to dominate the first test, literally study more than I needed to. I even had one semester where I had all of my tests literally happening on the same week. It was like finals week, for all my first tests, like 4 weeks after school had started. And so I treated it as if it was finals because I needed to get like a 95 or higher on the first test to set my pace to the rest of the class. Because to get a 3.93, you can't get an A- on anything. You've got to get an over A average on all your tests. So anyways, having the first 100% in the bag made everything more confident. So I always overstudied for the first test. Read all of the material. Not everything is applicable on the first test because who even knows what's on the first test? But if you know more than the guy next to you and you know more than everybody else in the class, you're probably going to get a better grade than him. And if you get a better grade than him, you're probably going to get an A. So that was always my mentality going into every first test, and I always crushed it. The next test, I could then say, hey, I don't need to have an A on this. On top of that, you learn so much of the first test. The second test is like, oh, well, I have such a strong foundation, this next material just kind of rolls right along. I'm still going to study a lot for it. Don't have to quite study as much because I learned what's on the test. Okay, the teacher did a bunch of talking on this, and that was pretty much text word for word from that. Another teacher just blabbers on about nothing in the entire class, so I had to read the book to get the material. Read the book for the next test, you know, or the handouts, whatever it is. Find out what it is for the second and third test, and you'll have so much knowledge of where everything comes from for the first one that you can easily do better on the second one. And my philosophy was always, pass it the first time, you never have to take it again. Spend another 10 hours studying, and hey, you save yourself another 100 hours the next semester, showing up to class, doing all the studying over again. I can't imagine doing another class again. I could not imagine it. I was always so... to me, I had already factored in the time of taking it again, always. So I figured I would just crush it all one time and then never go back. Anyways, that is a really big tip. Study hard for the first one, get a good grade. And a way you can do that, especially if you're listening to this video right now, I assume you're an auditory learner. And maybe like some visuals as well. I was kind of a mix personally, but you might need to even ask your teacher on this, but record the classes. This might help you out. This really helped me out for some classes. I learned from one teacher that literally the day before the test, he gave you everything that was on the test, like 90%, because he reviewed all of the key points that were throughout the last few weeks, and all the key points are what's on the test. So if there ever is a review, highly recommend you record it and then play it back. Maybe even while you're playing games, while you're in the car, if you've got to commute, listen to it again and get that feedback from it. I think that's definitely going to help you out. That helped me out a lot, being able to listen back to it, especially because a lot of tests are based on that. And some teachers, they just talk extremely fast. So even one I had to just play it back and then pause it while I was taking notes so I could review through that. Yeah, my notes were always on point. Nobody else could understand them, but I had my own shortcuts that helped me get through it faster. And yeah, I always loved looking back at my notes. Anyways, thanks so much for watching, guys. If you guys want to hear some more tips and things like this, I could definitely do a lot more. Just let me know with a thumbs up. Comment down below. Again, let me know your age. What grade are you in? Is this feedback good? I have no idea. It's a two-way street as well on here. You guys got to give me some feedback in terms of what you're enjoying. I don't ask you guys what you want me to do. I provide you guys content because I don't think you guys know what you want. Whoever knew that they wanted Call of Duty videos on the internet or some dude talking about school? I don't know. Anyways, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. This is Stone Mountain 64 signing out.